Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Black Dog Video After Dark podcast for our special Canada Day episode. Now, full disclosure, we recorded this episode weeks ago before the current news had come to light of the horrors of our shameful residential school system here in Canada. And obviously, it still has not all come to light and will be some time before it's dealt with and justice has been done. We debated whether or not we should even do the Canada Day episode, but at the end of the day, we're a nostalgic movie podcast. We don't really get into Canadian politics or history or anything, but we have added links in the description of this podcast to websites with information and charitable organizations supporting the Truth and Reconciliation Act in Canada. So we encourage everyone listening to follow those links and learn about the reality of the country that you live in, because I believe that Canada is than just fireworks and poutine on Canada Day. And I also believe that we're a country that is strong enough to embrace the horrors of its past and make reparations and bring justice to those who are long overdue it. So with that in mind, enjoy the episode. Happy Canada Day, and thank you for listening.
All right, you primitive screwheads, listen up.
Roger. What's our vector, Victor?
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass.
I know that, Mr. Man. They also call them cereals. I'm not stupid, you know.
The story is ludicrous. You can imagine where it goes from here.
Fixes the cable.
Pin is the one and only friend Leon's ever had. The only one who doesn't care that Leon's different. Only Pin knows Leon's darkest secret.
Leon?
Hello, Marsha. When someone hurts Leon, Pin hurts them. Is Pin a friend or an enemy? Only Leon knows.
What have you done?
Pin. Some friendships die hard.
It is After Dark. This is Black Dog Video. That makes this the Black Dog Video After Dark podcast, or Black Dog After Dark.
Or Black Dog AD.
Black Dog AD, possibly. My name is Dylan Reimer. I'm one of your hosts and an occasional.
That wasn't me.
It sounded like a kazoo, or like someone's like tuning his guitar or something.
Well, we are recording live in a video store, and it's a busy street just right out in front of us.
And the weather is getting better, so people are out
driving around honking.
But once again, my name is Dylan Reimer. I am a comedian and occasional employee of Black Dog Video here in Vancouver.
More than an occasional employee. You work like 2 or 3 shifts a week.
Yeah, but I don't want my fans to know that I need to work at a video store to make ends meet. I want them to think that I'm living a shitty life exclusively from the ill-gotten gains of telling jokes to morons in redneck bars in northern Alberta.
Wow, interesting.
But we're not in northern Alberta. We're in Vancouver, here at Black Dog Video, 1470 Commercial Drive. You might wonder who that voice was. God, this is a terrible intro.
No, it's all right. It's working.
Anyway, we've mixed things up.
Well, I know. That's why you're totally thrown off.
Yeah. So instead of sitting to my left, as he usually is, sitting to my right would be...
I'm Alex Chisholm. I work at Black Dog Video. I have worked here a long time.
Way too long.
And I also work at the Rio Theater down the street. I'm a programmer.
Which will be opening up...
well, it's currently open in sports bar form, but we're allowed to reopen as a theater again on the 14th.
14th or 15th?
Or the 15th.
Whatever.
Just check the website. Sorry, guys, I'm in a bit of a... This will be airing...
Canada Day.
Yes, it's good. Yes, it's Canada Day.
We were going to get to that.
My brain, in terms of dates right now, because of this whole crisis, is sort of...
So by the time this airs, there will be programs.
There will be
There's films. Yeah, look it up.
Programming.
We're going to kick off with some greatest hits cult films, and we're also going to show some Oscar nominees and stuff. Check the website for all the details.
Actually, I've got a question. You guys are doing a sports bar thing right now.
Correct.
RuPaul's Drag Race.
Well,
not a sport, really.
It's a competition. It's drag racing.
Just because the word drag race is in it.
Well,
does that mean they can show Death Race 2000 because it's
not
a competition?
Yet, unfortunately.
Is it actually drag? Is there actually drag racing? Do they drive cars?
Before we get into any of that, who the hell are you? Third voice.
Oh yes, I'm Darren Gay. I own this shoddy establishment in the bowels of East Vancouver.
Pretty shoddy.
Yep, for going on over 15 years here now.
Yeah, it's been some time, and we are a video store, and we are a video store podcast. Every couple of weeks, we like to review a movie that time forgot and see if it holds up. And we figured, it being Canada Day.
Woohoo!
And also we forgot our fourth member. We have a guest today. We are joined by a 5'9", anatomically correct medical dummy named Pin.
Yes, welcome, Pin.
Welcome, Pin. Well, thank you.
Hi.
Are you?
I was expecting you to do it.
Are you the voice of Pin?
I'll step in.
Okay, so Pin, you haven't watched your own movie, so you might not understand any of the references or questions. Be that as it may, Pin to me is an actual human being as opposed to just a plastic, anatomically correct surgical dummy thing.
So Pin to you is alive?
Yes, and I will punch you in the face, even if you're a woman, if you say otherwise.
Yeah, you're going to fly off the handle at any slight of...
Anything.
Really
anything.
Right. So if I were to call Pin an office dummy, what would you do?
I should punch you in the face! Anyway, so yes, the movie we are doing is the 1988 Canadian cult psychological thriller Pin. And we're doing this for Canada Day.
Yeah,
this should be dropping. So happy Canada Day, everybody.
Are we still celebrating Canada Day? Like, is that a thing still?
I'm pretty sure it'll be canceled at some point.
Yeah.
This is not a huge political statement.
No,
but
we're not going to get anything like that.
But maybe it's Nation Day or Not America Day.
Right.
Or
Happy
6 foot plastic, anatomically correct surgical dummy that is telling you to murder people day.
Let's go with that.
Which is precisely why we chose this film. It is directed by
a guy with a really... I never heard
Sandor Stern.
What an awesome name.
Amazingly is not a villain trying to take over the universe.
Never heard of this guy
in a Marvel
before.
movie. Nor is he a Viking overlord. Sandor Stern. I did a little bit of research on his life.
His life? His whole life?
Well, he was mostly a writer.
Right.
However, he has directed, I think, like maybe 16 movies. Among them, Amityville, the 1977.
No, he didn't direct that one.
Well, he wrote it though.
He may have written. Well, I'm not sure who wrote it. It's Stuart Rosenberg who directed
the original
Amityville.
Well, he's credited. I think he's probably the screenwriter on the original Amityville, and I think he directed Amityville 3D.
Maybe, but he directed a favorite of mine. It's a bad movie, but it's a favorite of mine, John and Yoko, A Love Story.
A TV movie,
It was a
wasn't
TV movie from the 80s about John Lennon and Yoko Ono.
Is that who it's about?
Oh, I thought it was
yeah,
John.
Guess, yeah.
Oh,
And,
interesting.
John and Yoko McDonald, you know?
Yeah.
But down the street. But no, it's about John and Yoko, and it's one of the most historically accurate movies about a rock star, but the script is bad and the performances feel like impersonation.
So what is so accurate about it then?
Well, it's just what they choose to...
The font of the credits?
No. Like the details that they cover in the life, and they get the major points.
Who played John Lennon in that?
His name slips my mind, but he's the brother. You've seen With Nail and I, right?
Of course.
Well, I in With Nail, the guy who played I.
Yes.
His name's like McGann or something. It's
Paul
his brother.
Paul McGann, he was Doctor
His
Who.
brother plays.
Yeah.
His brother plays John Lennon, and I can't remember who plays Yoko, but there's a scene with a delivery boy, and
With
me and
Nail's
my
brother.
friends were like, that's him. It's got to be him. It's a very young Mike Myers appears in
Oh,
it,
no
too.
kidding.
But the movie, yeah, it's a bad movie, but I owned it on VHS for years.
Show off.
He
And the first, it just kind of segues into the first time I saw Pin.
Oh, okay.
A friend of mine lent it to me on VHS, and I, at the same time, coincidentally said, "Here, I'll borrow this John and Yoko movie for a laugh," not realizing it was the same director until we each watched the movie we had traded.
No shit. I guess he was a fan. As a writer, I don't know if this is relevant or anything. Mostly Ghost wrote for VC Andrews.
You say Ghost Throat?
Ghost Throat.
So you said Ghost Throat?
Ghost wrote. Get this, 90 VC Andrews novels. I guess VC Andrews is no longer, or I don't know.
90?
It could be VC Andrews might not exist.
How long have those people been in the attic for?
Long flower.
My God.
They're not flowers anymore.
No.
Like full grown trees.
I read that first one.
I don't know if they're all flowers in the attic, but stories. But
If not, they're petals on the wing.
anyway, Sandor Stern was cranking out the
Roots in the ground.
the pulp, and found time to
Direct Pin.
write and direct a number of movies and television, including a show near and dear to my heart. This '80s series that nobody remembers called Probe. Which I think I know.
Was it about the
that
car?
would go good with that 80s sitcom I've told you about, Throb. Those two would be good.
Probe
and Throb.
Probe.
Maybe it was a
Probe
90s
was ahead of the
sitcom.
curve, man. Probe was about this genius, like agoraphobic sort of Sherlock Holmes type character. Like House basically ripped off Probe, although Probe was canceled after 6 episodes,
Dr.
and I'm the
Probe?
only person who can remember the show Probe.
Yes.
Now I can't remember the name of the star, but you might know Alex.
Sure he
Who
does.
played the Hardy Boys?
Give me a second.
Sean Cassidy was one.
Yeah, and Parker
Stevenson.
Parker Stevenson.
Parker Stevenson.
I always confuse him with Jameson Parker from
Yeah,
Simon and
Jameson
Simon.
Parker
Starvin
Cassidy.
Parker Posey. Parker Stevenson was the star of Probe. I just wanted to throw to any of our 68 listeners who remember the show Probe.
I hope
was
there's some
later
probe
on.
heads
I'm with
out
you,
there.
buddy. Yeah, the movie directed in 1988 stars David Hewlett.
Oh, we're talking about Pin now.
We're back to talking about Pin.
Pin.
Our Canada Day pick for whatever reason.
Yeah, you picked this one.
I suggested it.
Yeah, then we went with it.
This is the only one that all three of us agreed on. And frankly,
Well,
I'm surprised either of you went with it.
Well, I was excited to watch this.
I just get sick of arguing. with
Actually,
you, Dylan.
the
I
reason
gave up on
the reason I was excited to watch this is because I've never seen Pin, and I've always wanted to watch it. And then so once we decided we're going to watch it, I was like, wait a minute. And I checked my Letterbox account, and I watched it 8 months ago.
Oh,
and totally forgot that I'd seen it.
it's that big night you did heroin for the first
Well,
time.
I think I may have had a few pops that night because I watched it with my wife, and she was astounded that I did not remember watching
I
this.
wonder how you could forget this. It stars David Hewlett.
I don't know who that is.
He was on the Edison Twins once for our Canadian listeners.
Okay.
Do you remember the Edison Twins?
Nope.
I remember.
Okay. You don't remember the Edison Twins?
I remember.
Nobody does.
I
Hey,
said I
Pin,
did.
do you remember the Edison Twins?
No.
Oh, my God.
I remember it.
'Cause
You
it never
call your-
happened.
I only mention it because it's Canada Day. The Edison Twins.
You'll always.
You know,
win,
the
just
more
like
you
the
say
others.
it is not going to make me think.
Anyway,
I've seen it.
and he was in a kind of a fun little indie flick called Treed Murray, which we have here at Black
Oh
Dog
right,
Video.
yeah, I've heard that's pretty good.
It's not bad. It's not great, but it's an interesting idea.
Is he Canadian?
Because
Because that's a Canadian movie.
Yes. Well, yes. David Hewlett is Canadian.
Wow.
And he's on a
Good on
series
him.
that I just started watching in the middle of the pandemic lock-in, a sci-fi TV series called Dark Matter, which is it's kind of like
Is it about the beer, the craft brewery?
It's exactly what it's about.
Wow.
It's a space TV show.
Who cares? Let's get on with it.
Okay,
Let's get on
whatever.
with
Yeah,
Pin,
yeah.
But I thought you guys were going to get all excited
No.
about Cynthia Preston.
Yeah.
Alex?
What?
The female lead in this movie is named Cynthia Preston from My Bloody Valentine.
Is that who that's where she's from?
Yeah.
Okay.
She gets hung on a hook or something. Of all the people.
I can't remember. I've seen My Bloody Valentine, but I hardly remember.
Well, we did it for the
all
podcast.
You
last
recommended
year.
it for the podcast.
Yeah, years ago.
This
but
movie,
I don't
by the way,
remember
has Alex written all over it. Like it's your favorite kind of thing. A low budget, like older 70s, 80s Canadian film that no one has ever seen. Anyway.
Yeah.
Terry O'Quinn from Lost.
I'm a big Terry O'Quinn fan.
He's excellent
Are you?
in The Stepfather, an 80s thriller. Really
Yeah, that's a good one too.
solid 80s thriller. At least it was when I saw
Yeah.
it way back in the
which
day.
I still haven't seen, actually. And you guys probably noticed a surprise celebrity is involved in this movie.
Was it
The voice of Pin.
who was that voice?
Did you notice? Well,
I-
I would have never
I-
in a million years guessed this.
Because I saw it the credits at the end last night when I watched it, but I can't remember who it was. Pin.
Do either of you watch Breaking Bad?
Yeah.
You know,
was that the same Jonathan Banks?
It's the same Jonathan Banks.
Because I wrote that down
Yeah.
because I was wondering about it. He plays Mike Ehrmantraut.
Mike Ehrmantraut on Better Call Saul, Breaking Bad. He was also in a series called Wise Guy that was like a really, really good
Because I was
Yeah,
going
series
it's
to.
from the
filmed here.
80s.
So it's the same guy because I was going to look that up.
Yeah,
I was-
it is in fact
because it's really weird because
It's
sounds,
weird.
sounds nothing like what he does now.
kind of talking like this. Pin kind of talks like this.
Why would they get him to do that? Like that's so crazy.
Well, maybe he was prepubescent back then.
He's always been old.
It was a weird detail in in a weird movie, and let's get right into it. So I guess it was my pick.
It was your pick.
So we'll start with my first impressions of this movie. This was for some reason I had this poster on my wall.
You had the Pin poster on your wall
in grade 8. Well, there was a movie
above your bed.
I grew up close to a Mega Movies, and so when this thing came out on VHS, they'd have a box of posters.
Yeah.
This was a pretty standard thing for video stores back in the day, and I just grabbed a few, and I thought it looked cool because it was like a weird wheelchair at the top of a set of stairs.
That's actually a pretty cool poster.
It's a really cool poster, and it said like. You don't know Pin.
Or he's going to stick you when you're not expecting it.
Or whatever. A nurse is. You're going to watch Pin have sex with a nurse.
This ain't Probe.
This ain't your daddy's Probe. Actually, Probe was after Pin, but no, it was before. Whatever. Then I never actually watched the movie. I just liked the poster, and then it would just come on CBC late night all the time. Like
Canadian
Pin
CanCon.
was always on. And I would always come home drunk and go, "Hey, that fucking Pin thing."
Were you like 12 at the time?
No, I would have been 15.
Right.
And I would always try and watch Pin and then fall asleep because I was expecting. Well, we'll get into what this movie kind of presents itself as and what it actually is.
Right.
It was entirely too strange to keep my attention in my drunken adolescent state, and so. I think watching it last night was the first time I ever saw this movie. Oh. How about you, Darren?
Well, I already explained. I never thought I saw it before.
Turns out you had.
8 months ago.
Yeah, Pin got to your head.
Yeah, when I watched it 8 months ago, I watched it with my wife, and we both totally enjoyed it, like tip to tail. We had a blast watching it. She remembered a lot more about it than I did. She did not watch it again with me last night.
Oh.
Considering she just watched it 8 months ago.
You might want to give 9-10 months.
Yeah,
between viewings of Pin.
Well, I'm shocked that I didn't remember. When I was watching it, I remembered everything that was happening just right before it happened because I'd seen it before. But I still really enjoyed watching it again. So
right.
But I don't. My Pin history is quite limited.
Mm-hmm. Alex, had you ever seen Pin before this podcast?
Yeah, I first saw it in about 2004. I used to work at the Ridge Theater, which has been torn down, and
sad.
A friend of mine, yes, very sad.
Another one bites the dust.
But a friend of mine, Laura, who I worked with at the theater, was always talking about this movie. She had it on VHS, and completely coincidentally, she was like, "You got to see this movie, Pin." And I was like, "You got to see this movie, John and Yoko." And we exchanged them, and not realizing it was the same director or whatever, which tended to be weird. But all I remember is her handing me the VHS of Pin and saying, "He's family."
Did you drive up in your car and she drove up in her car in an abandoned parking lot and then you pass the videotapes across to each other?
How did you know that?
I just knew that. Weird, eh? Interesting.
But I remember when we were going to hang out next time and we were like, "Yeah, I'll get you that movie back." We were both like, "Oh my God, it's the same director. Isn't that weird?" Yeah.
Okay.
So that was about 2004 when I first saw it. Yeah.
So I guess none of us actually saw this when it came out.
Nope.
For some reason, I thought it was a much older movie than 1988.
Yeah, it seems older.
Yeah,
because it seems it could have been filmed in the 70s, 80s, or whatever. Because it's pretty sparse locations, like overlit all the rooms. It's almost soap opera-ish a lot of times.
Yeah.
It's very low budget, which is fine. But
yeah, well, I did a little research into this thing. What happened was the book. It's based on a book called Pin. That came out in 1982, I think, maybe 83, and it was optioned. And so the screenplay was written, and it was shopped around, and then two separate producers really loved it and wanted to make it. And then a third, I can't remember exactly what happened.
Get your story straight.
But they basically, these two producers didn't even know each other. And then they met at a party or something, and they started talking, and then they started talking about this screenplay, and they both loved it, and they actually formed the production company that made the movie. And they're like, "Our first project together will be Pin. Hey, best buddy forever." And then after about 2 weeks of shooting, one producer loved it, and the other producer's like, "What the hell are you making here? Like a wanky art house festival for..."
Right.
So many things I can't say that this character would say, but it's no longer... Whatever. Point being, the one guy thought it was going to be like a slasher horror flick.
Right.
And the other guy wanted to be like sort of an art house.
Well, it was the heyday of the
movie.
slashers too, so I can see that's why someone would think that making a horror movie, it's gonna almost have to be full of boobs and blood.
Yeah, boobs and blood, and Michael Bublé. So
that was his nickname in high school.
But watching this movie, what I find so interesting about it is a horror movie that
Kinda.
isn't. I mean, it's a psychological thriller, is how I would describe it.
Yeah, it's not scary.
I thought it was scary at points.
Really?
Yes. I was expecting like a scary slasher horror movie, and what I got was a really weird, twisted, psychological.
It's really weird.
Dude having a fucking mental breakdown
through his whole life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And clearly that was also. The two separate producers had similar issues because the one guy's like, well, we're making a horrific horror movie, and the other guy's like, no, I prefer like a more of a slow burn, like gentle, psychological drama.
Yeah.
And so what you get is like a mix of the two.
Well, there's nobody gets killed in this movie really.
Well, I mean, not
near death. Brutal.
There's very very little violence.
Well, the parents die in a car crash.
Yeah, that happens in every movie, and it's their own fault, or was it Pin's fault?
Well, okay, so there's that. I mean,
was that you?
Me? Oh no, it was Pin. Hey, Pin.
Pin. Keep it down over there, Pin.
You're looking great for your age, by the way, Pin.
I'm still here.
You don't look a day over factory issue. I mean, I guess we have to talk about what this movie's about. So it's about siblings.
Yes.
An older brother and a younger sister, but
Yes.
maybe 2 or 3 years apart, and they grow up in this weird house with a dad who is a physician, or maybe he's a stepfather.
He's the dad.
He's a physician, and then a mother who's a hypochondriac.
Is hypochondriac mean like people that are afraid of dirt?
Yeah. Well, maybe she's a hypochondriac, like disease-wise, but she's just obsessed with cleanliness.
They have plastic on the furniture.
Yeah.
He gets scolded for coming home and getting a little bit of dirt in the hallway, and then she slaps him because of it.
Yeah.
And so he has no friends because he can't have anyone over to the house.
Yeah.
So they're brought up in a very sterile environment where they're taught that being dirty is you might as well be like licking the devil's anus if you're going to be dirty.
Or working at Black Dog Video.
Or the same thing. And I'm the devil.
That's what I tell me whenever I never say going to work. I'm always like I'm off to lick the devil's anus.
Like the devil's anus.
Yeah.
We're off to lick the devil's anus.
Even regulars here at the shop know what I mean now.
Yeah. Well, it says it on the business card.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Licking the devil's anus.
Licking the devil's anus.
2005.
Yeah.
Hi ho.
That's actually pretty good.
Hi ho, to the devil's anus we go. At 1470 Commercial Drive.
Hi ho.
Yeah, so clearly a psychosis is setting in because of this weird like sterility obsession on the mother's part. Well, and then the weird father.
Yeah, because they're so distant and unloving and cold towards their children. Like the only way that the father can basically communicate to his kids is through ventriloquism, through this
medical dummy.
This medical dummy. Or is my favorite line in this movie is when the little girl calls him an office dummy, which I don't know why I find that so funny. I just want to move that into my everyday vernacular. Office dummy, just like because it can apply to so many different things. But he pretends that it's alive, and the kids, being young kids, kind of buy it.
Yeah,
that the gross looking, because it's a dummy that has like it's transparent skin, so you can see all its organs and shit.
Yeah, it's like a weird muscle.
Well, did you ever have that invisible man or invisible woman?
Yes, visible. It was called visible.
That's right.
Woman.
That's right. Not invisible, because then you wouldn't be able to see anything. Yeah. But because it was like a clear like model, and you'd have like all the organs. I painted all like the intestines and heart and lungs, and you'd assemble it inside the model and stuff, and put clear.
I had one from a yard sale, and it was. I bet
it was missing half.
It was a visible woman. No, it was complete. And it also had a pregnancy option. You could put
really?
Yeah. It was up on a shelf.
I'll bet it did.
But
then again, every doll you had a pregnancy option, didn't it, Alex?
Hey, how come Barbie never got pregnant?
Boom.
Thanks,
Ken
Pin.
came in the wrong box.
That's not bad.
Yeah,
I heard that once. I went into
terrible.
Many years ago. I went in, when I first moved to the neighborhood. Around about 20 years ago, I went into Cafe du Soleil, and one of the servers behind the counter, I went up to place my order, was standing there in shock, mouth hanging open, and the other server was like, "Are you okay? Are you okay?" And they talking them through. I'm like, And I walk up and goes, everything all right? And they were kind of ignoring me, these two women working the counter. And they were talking amongst themselves. And one of them said to the other, oh, my God, it was so disgusting. And then she looks at me and goes, yeah, an old man just paid his bill or whatever and said to me, how come Barbie never got pregnant? Because Ken came in the wrong box. And I burst out laughing. I just thought it was really funny.
And so you were banned.
Yeah, they evil stared me out of there. I had to get out of there
because it's a stupid, gross joke.
It is a stupid, gross joke, and I could understand why it would gross someone out for sure, especially
women working at an environment where they have to deal with that.
But I just whatever. I think I had just finished like a late shift, and just hearing that joke in the context, it genuinely cracked me up. But I left because they were.
I don't mind putting down Café du Soleil. That place
don't put down Café du Soleil.
That place is disgusting.
I ate chili there today. I love Café du Soleil.
Did you make?
I don't want to turn this into a bad.
So they finally took your mug shot down off the wall.
This is all going to be cut off.
You should have told the joke again.
Yeah. Well,
hey, why can't Barbie have an orgasm?
All right,
or whatever.
Because Ken's box is
hey,
too big.
I fucked a doll in Dartmouth. Oh, sorry.
Let's start over.
All my dolls have pregnancy options.
Tonight's podcast, take 2.
Anyway, so yeah, Pin is this. I have no idea why he's called Pin, by the way. And
well, it's mentioned way later on in the movie, just like a throwaway line, because its original name was Pinocchio.
Oh,
but he's not made of wood. I don't know why they call him Pinocchio, and his nose doesn't grow because he never lies.
Is he made of wood?
No,
okay.
He's not made of wood.
Yeah,
Maybe
so
Pardo's made of wood.
He's this like translucent muscle, like a plastic man,
like you might find in a doctor's office, possibly.
Yeah.
Although he's sitting in a chair for some reason in the doctor's office.
It put me in mind.
It's a medical dummy.
There was a sketch.
Office dummy.
On I think it was at Mr. Show that Bob Odenkirk used to write for Saturday Night Live, and he wrote this sketch called like Mr. Muscle or something, and it was like one of these guys who comes out, and I remember on Canadian TV there was actually this dude called like Mr. Muscle or something. Right. Do you remember this? And he would wear this like skin tight suit of sinew and
Ew.
Yeah, it was. It was right, and he'd be like, "Well, this is my pancreas, and it regulates. If it gets cancer, I die."
Did he dance around and stuff?
Yeah, he'd be like, "I'm Mr. Muscle," and so Bob Odenkirk had this one sketch where it's that guy, but then his innards start spilling out, and there's like blood. It's like that, but with Hellraiser sort of thrown into the mix.
Cool.
And it was too disgusting for network TV, and then it was also too disgusting for HBO. I read the Mr. Show biography, and I've always wanted to see that goddamn sketch. Anyway, so Pin is like this, anatomically correct, plastic, no skin, weird muscle skull man.
The movie, the way the movie starts off is interesting. There's a bunch of like kids that are sneaking up to a house, and then because there's like someone's always staring out of the window. And they don't know if it's alive or not. And so one of the kids crawls up and hears the office dummy talk to him. Like, get out. Freaks the kids out and they run away. So
you know what's so disappointing? Sorry.
Yeah. Its eye move. They don't hear it say anything.
No, it says get out.
You don't see anything. You just you see the
there's like a curtain waving.
The curtain kind of waves like Pin's eye view.
Yeah. Like move the curtain.
But it's like in typical Canadian movie fashion. They're not even gonna. And this thing is Canadian through and through.
Oh, yeah.
I thought the kid would like sort of stumble back and then fall like one story onto the grass.
Maybe be impaled on the fence.
But instead, it's so scary. And then the kid takes his time slowly climbing down. Yep. I'm like, I guess they couldn't afford a stunt kid.
Safety first, you know.
Yep. So, so that's the beginning is what the hell is in that window.
And then it's fast forward like, then it goes 15 years into the past or whatever when they're kids.
That's right.
Growing up in this shitty house with Tara Quinn as the crazy dad and then the crazy mom.
And and so dad's got this like medical dummy. Now, I understand why you would, if you were an instructor or a teacher, I don't know why you would have that thing just as a general practitioner.
Well, I don't know, like because if you maybe have to explain something to a patient, this is
your penis.
I'm not questioning that being in a doctor's office. Not that I've encountered too many pin-style dolls in doctors' offices, but you'll usually see like an anatomy.
Yeah, but you never see it. You never see it sitting in a chair.
Sure you do.
No, you never see it. Like it's always like it's on a hook or it's
hanging from a noose.
Yeah, exactly. but
dressed up as your mother.
But it's sitting in a chair with a towel over its nether regions.
Oh my god! It's Sorry.
No, which makes it weird because now you just want to look under the towel.
Like, I gotta have a look at that shit.
Yeah.
And then, but it's a Canadian movie, you know. And the joke is obvious. No, I know why they call you a pin. So then the kids are curious about sex or something.
Oh yeah.
And so Dad, instead of going like, well, you know, there's willies and woo woos or whatever conversation,
which will explain everything
you parents have. Well, no, I've always thought that was hilarious. When parents are like, well, the birds and the bees and no, your dick gets hard and you put it in a vagina. Maybe you don't say
out pops a baby.
Just show them a porno for 2 minutes and go. That's how it's done.
Yeah. Well, why is there always a pizza guy involved?
it's like anyway. So instead, and you don't even know about Pin yet. It's just like Pin is just in the corner, and the kids come in, and it's just like, oh, I saw a couple of slugs rubbing up against each other, or whatever. They have these curious kid questions about sex. And instead of going, oh, okay, well, it's time to tell you about the birds and the bees. I am a physician after all.
Yeah.
You hear like, oh, sometimes a man and a woman get thirsty for reproduction. Like he's using the thirst.
No, it's called the need.
Oh, the
need, which they go on. Like, it comes back to the whole movie, the need.
But he compares it to a glass of water. Like when you get thirsty, you drink water. Grown-ups they have the need. It's like, oh, you'll die if you don't ejaculate or whatever. Coming from a plastic, skinless doll named Pin,
which
explains, with your clearly your father's voice.
Yeah,
that gets the ball rolling as to why these kids end up the way they do.
Oh, absolutely.
At least one of them.
And that coupled with the sterility obsession of the mother, it's a miracle only one of these kids turns into a lunatic.
Yeah, because the girl's fine, but Leon, the boy, he's off his rocker right from the beginning.
I'm wondering if there's any homosexual subtext in this. I couldn't tell if they were...
He lunges at the opportunity to take the clothes off the dummy at the very beginning. He goes, I'll take the clothes off it. And the dad's like, no, because I think he wants to remove the towel over the genitalia.
Yeah.
They're doing the little sex talk. And
but that could just be childhood curiosity. But there's like this through the whole movie. There's this he's such a repressed character.
Well, there's a couple scenes. One when they're at the dance, and what's her name's like Rhonda, or it's like it's Marcia. Marcia obviously likes Leon, and she wants him to dance, and he just like walks off in a huff. And then later on, he calls Marcia up for a hookup for that night.
Yeah.
And they go to the movies, and she's like licking his ear, like really licking his ear.
She was going for it.
I thought she was gonna like eat it right off the side of his head.
Right off.
Yeah.
And then they go back to
if you put peanut butter in your ear, a dog would lick your ear that hard.
He must have had a lot of peanut butter in his ear
because she must really like peanut butter.
Yes,
and
totally.
sex.
Yeah, because so they go back to his place, their big ugly mansion, and she takes her clothes off, and he's like, "Oh, I'm worried about Pin."
Yes. and she's like, "I don't mind your penis."
Yeah, but who's Pin? Oh, he lives with us. Oh, he'll be
no. He's staying with us for a little while.
Yeah, and he's like, it's so weird and so awesome.
And his nudity in this movie, like out of the blue. It was totally unnecessary and probably. I mean, I don't know what this film is rated, but with the nudity, it's got to be R.
Well, that's the only nudity really in it is her boobs, right?
Yeah, and it's not remotely necessary. Well, I don't think there's any swearing. There's not that much violence.
No,
but just out of the blue, you just see boobs, which I'm not complaining about because I mean that's what
Sounds
CBC
like
Late Night was all about.
Oh, I understand. I understand. Growing up
was movies filmed in Quebec that showed boobs. So the older Leon, the older brother, develops
an unhealthy relationship with Pin.
Yeah.
The climax of this early on,
so to speak,
is when he goes to the office. Because he wants to talk to Pin, and of course Pin's not responding. But then
Pin, what's wrong with you? Don't be a dick.
This is probably my favorite scene in the movie, and like this is the best. What the fuck is going on? Is when like the nurse comes in and locks the door. Obviously, she's done this before.
Yeah.
And there's a great shot of her looking at Pin, and she raises her eyebrow, like, "Oh, I like the way he's looking, sitting there with no skin." And
yeah,
like, okay, I'm wondering, like
she like lifts his chin and stuff.
Yeah, that's right. So he's looking at her.
Yeah.
Which is like so creepy and gross. And then she grabs the doll and just starts,
has sex with it.
But so my question is like, so is this Pin doll? Is he like got a fully erect penis? Is it like sticking up? Is it laying against his belly?
Well, I didn't overanalyze that.
Well, you gotta think. Well,
it's just like they're dry humping. She's dry humping.
Is that what she's doing? Because she said,
I don't know how dry it was, dude.
Well, yeah, but anyway.
So this is.
But they're rubbing up against.
Why is my plastic anatomical doll always wet in the crotch when I come to work?
Well, I have to assume that she washes it down after every session.
Can you imagine how shameful that must be? Like, there's already a certain amount.
It's Canadian dry.
Canada dry. Try it again, Pin.
It's Canada dry.
Oh, good one, Pin. I mean, boom.
All right, Pin.
I mean, masturbation is already shameful enough. Like that moment afterwards where you're like, why did I do that? But imagine imagine if you find yourself lying on top of a plastic doll with no face. Skin. It's like, oh my God, I had sex with Mick Jagger again.
So, well, you'd see like I'm sure it's penis. All you can see is all the blood vessels and stuff in it because there's no skin on it.
Yeah,
like that's not really much of a turn on. I have to think.
Well, it is for her.
Maybe,
this whole
maybe she's into English guys.
There's no question she's turned on. But yeah,
and the poor kid
is a totally weird scene, and the kid watches it.
Yeah,
and
becomes horrified.
The kid is watching from the closet.
Yeah.
Now I don't know if that's deliberate, but it's like
the doll seems to be staring at him while it's having sex with the nurse.
It is like help. I thought we were just friends.
I didn't sign up for this.
Yeah, how come the doll's not?
I can't move.
By the way, haven't you noticed I never talk when your dad isn't in the room? You fucking moron.
Yeah, he hasn't noticed that part yet.
The sister has noticed. In fact, she looks over at the dad, and he's like the worst ventriloquist ever. His lips are totally flapping around. You know,
it's pretty
like
funny.
like Audrey too, just the biggest rubbery lips ever moving. But the kid's like, "Oh, tell me you love me, Pin."
Yeah,
your father wishes you were never born. Anyway, so
it's and then they're back at the house. It's his sister's birthday, and this is one of my favorite part. Is one of my I had so many favorite parts of this movie. Is like the dad's giving the daughter some presents, and he says, "Oh, one's from Pin," and then Leon's like, "Oh, which one is it?"
Yeah,
he's so excited, and then it's like some lame ballerina figurine that like a music box thing, and he loves it. He's in love with it. He carries it around with him for a good chunk of the rest of the movie.
Did Pin
there's a scene
did Pin give a card?
I don't know if
it's all written in Pin. It's like
bloody fingerprints,
bloody horrible Hellraiser handprints.
Pin, I love you.
Love Uncle Pin.
But it's so funny because he's so enamored with this. It could have been anything, but it's just because it's from Pin.
Yeah, it could have been anything. Anyway, yeah, and it's not even painted. Oh, by the way, about that doll, the budget on this thing.
It all went into the Pin, I guess.
I think it was $3 million. Does that sound right for 1988? Maybe it's probably more like
I don't know.
Does $30 million sound like too much?
Way too much.
So let's say $3 million. Certainly under $10 million. $70,000 of which went to making the doll.
Did he just make one, or was it several?
I think it might have been a stunt doll that had sex with the nurse.
Oh,
and they immediately
they brought in the stunt doll. Sorry, are we boring you, Alex? Sir? No, you seem like you're falling asleep over there. You're yawning a lot. You're making me tired.
But $70,000 for that doll. I mean, that's a lot.
Is it?
I wonder if Pin. Well, hey, Pin.
He's the star of the show, and the movie's named after him. You might as well spend a little bit of that budget.
You know,
because there's really not much else to like. Oh, everything's taking place in like maybe 5 or 6 rooms, basically.
Yeah. It's just the one house and
then the car accident. It's basically the only outside.
And once
scene.
again, like they need to illustrate that they're speeding. So what they do is get the car to drive at the legal speed, and then speed up the film.
Yeah, they
like
sure did.
Like you're not going to hear Benny Hill music whenever you see that.
But it was all tire squealing.
You're driving too fast.
Slow down.
Yeah. So the dad, for whatever reason, he's got some big speech.
Yeah.
And he's like, I forgot my goddamn notes back in my my doctor office.
Right.
And then he goes back, and his like teenage son is standing there, like having an intense conversation
in the dark
with Pin.
With Pin.
Yeah. And Dad's like, right,
something's wrong
taking
here.
that fucking thing away like immediately. And the mom's like, oh, she's like, oh, Pin, I hate this thing.
No, she's like, I hate when you put it in the car. It's like this is an ongoing thing. Yeah. I have to assume this is the first time that Pin's been in a car because he's been in the office the whole time.
Well, anyway, yeah, and he's saying the dad's saying it's an opportunity to get rid of the doll.
Yes.
He's going to donate it to wherever he's given.
I'm going to give it to the Salvation Army.
This is a pretty neat scene where they're driving and he thinks he sees Pin in the rear view
because
mirror
every time
and
because they're going so fast,
yeah.
Pin's moving around the
Pin's
back and the
moving,
blanket,
yeah.
the towel falls off him, and then all of a sudden he's staring at him.
Yeah, it's just like that's never not going to be creepy though.
And then of course they crash and they both die.
And they both die, but Pin's still okay.
Yeah, well, yeah.
You know, and then the son shows up on the scene of the crash. I don't know how it.
Well,
yeah,
yeah.
like when there's a car crash, do people phone
the kids to bring them to see their dead parents?
You want to see them before we take them to the morgue? You want to see
pull some glass
their
out of their
last
face?
grisly
that I found
scream?
really odd too. He just kind of shows up.
Well, actually, they were both there. The girl was there. She was in the car.
Yeah.
And he was like grabbing Pin out of the car, the
That's
crash
right,
car.
yeah.
I didn't realize you're also allowed to just remove evidence from a possible crime scene.
Well, especially the potential murderer.
Yes.
Like who knows that Pin didn't kill them? We don't know that. Because he lunged at him as they were crashing. So who knows? Was Pin alive? Because this is a point in the movie you wonder if Pin is alive.
Well, and where did Pin even come from? I mean, there is
The Office.
some discussion. Well, where did the dad get Pin?
Well, probably
you
at the medical supply store.
I don't see why you're so dumbfounded about the doctor having a medically correct.
I'm not dumbfounded. I'm
you
just
seem
Why
quite
you're so,
dumbfounded,
I'm just
my friend.
curious.
It's like you make it sound like the most preposterous.
It's a
thing
weird
ever, and
doll, dude.
It is weird, but it's not so weird for a doctor to have.
I think it's a little bit weird for a
you always
family.
see the cliche in the movies, like the skeleton.
Look,
hanging,
it's
like
not
that's-
weird for that creepy German guy who did the fucking dead corpse exhibit.
That was cool.
The Body
That
Worlds
was
thing.
awesome,
Oh
yeah.
no, well, whatever. I worked at Science World for that, and it's
was-
one thing
it was
when
fairly
it's
nauseating,
one
but it was
thing when
cool.
you're in there for 1 hour. It's another when you 40 hours of your week
to
is with like plastinated corpses.
And you have to wipe it down all the time.
Did
Did you have sex with any of them?
No, I made love.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Plastinated love. I blastinated those plastinated.
that horse.
No, we didn't get that one.
You didn't get the horse?
No,
Oh.
no. We had this fucking. We've never talked about this on the show before.
I don't think so. I saw the exhibit. I thought it was amazing.
So did I. The nervous system was my favorite.
Yeah, it was. It got to be fairly revolting after a while,
It
but
was
I liked it.
increasingly repulsive.
Yeah.
I didn't find it repulsive.
Oh
though.
God, they had the man.
Fascinating.
They had a table that was like an obese person that had been like
Yeah.
I guess like sectioned off.
That's right.
Why is it a fucking table? And then on top of that, all right, science is science. That's
Science.
I keep hitting your thing.
Stop hitting my thing.
It's fine, but there came a point where I felt that it crossed over from educational into just
Art.
tacky, not even art, because they had one that looked like C-3PO and it was called the Spaceman, and I'm like, that Spaceman maybe never even saw Star Wars. Like this is some person who was been walking around having a life, feelings, emotions.
well, everyone
donates.
Yeah, they
it's
don't.
Not, it's not like he's stealing the bodies.
Everyone donates their bodies to science, or you should, anyways. Just donate your body to do something.
I
think it'd be awesome. If my body was down in Science World, all
So would
sliced up.
I've donated my body to science.
I'm donating my body to
not to
entertainment.
Body Worlds, but I'm the next Pin. I've donated my body to the remake of Pin. The reboot.
Cool.
Yeah,
Excellent. We should get on that.
I used to stand
You have to be dead for that, right?
at the exit of that plastinated corpse exhibit, Body Worlds. And by the way, the guy, the German doctor, I can't remember his name.
Mengele?
He's one of these people who has like no eyebrows. He's really pale, and he has like skinny little teeth,
Like
and no
Robert
lips.
Blake in Lost Highway?
No, I wasn't going to say that, but if you've ever seen Poltergeist 2, The Other Side,
The Poltergeist thing?
there's like an evil preacher who comes from beyond the grave, and he's like evil and pale, and
that guy's amazing.
He wears a black hat.
Yeah, he comes up to
That's
the door.
precisely
Wow, that guy's so fucking creepy.
what the German doctor behind. Just look it up. I can't remember his name.
I don't have a computer. So
And
there's
everyone's
no
just like, they see photos of this guy. It's like, I wouldn't want this guy on like in the same room with me. Never mind like cutting off my dick and turning into corn on the cob.
well, the
there's-
results
I
are
don't-
there. The exhibit's incredible.
Pretty sure there wasn't a buffet there.
Everyone's not yet. Everyone's signing up, and it's like, yeah, okay, you think that you're going to be one of the cooler ones, But it might just be that
It's just like a finger or something.
he cuts your hand off and makes it into an ashtray. Like he's fucking around with dead bodies. And people are paying like $30 and waiting in line to see the victims of this macabre German
I thought
nightmare
it was a
merchant.
wonderful
show. I'm still waiting to where it gets bad here. This is all good to me.
All right, fine.
Anyway, we should probably get back to the movie.
Anyway, so
I'm waiting to get back
to answer your question, Alex. I do think it's weird to have a plastinated corpse, or a wannabe corpse, in when you're like a family practitioner.
No, I think it's perfectly normal.
Well, what better way to put the children at ease than to have a no skin?
Especially the one that talks.
Well, this movie shows what happens. It's not about putting the children at ease.
It's making them crazy.
Anyway,
it's probably a poor choice by the doctor to have one, but it's not implausible that a doctor would have one.
Anyway, one of the questions I think that you're supposed to ask yourself as a viewer of this film is, like Shining style, is the guy actually crazy, or is Pin actually alive? Which makes me question, where did Pin come from?
Well, for me, like, I know the movie's aiming for that kind of ambiguity, but it doesn't work at all. I know damn well it's like a guy
because you can see
with issues who,
because you can see the dad mouthing the all the words, so you know he's not alive. But you're trying to in Leon's mind, he's alive. He's someone that's his best friend. This is his only friend he's ever had in his whole life.
So this is in fact a very, very sad.
It's very sad.
It's actually,
it'd be more sad if Leon was somewhat sympathetic. But he's not, he's just an awful person to everybody around him, especially his sister. Like on her birthday, and he's going about Pin's present and how awesome it is, and she says he's just an office dummy, and he hauls off and slaps her, like really hard. Says, "Don't ever say that." It just freaks out on her.
But my best friend Pin, who never ages and stopped talking when my dad died in that car crash.
Yeah. Well, this is I think this is mostly before the car crash. But anyways, like Leon's bringing the figurine dancing thing everywhere she goes. When they're giving the sex talk, when Pin's giving the sex talk, and then they're in the bedroom, and she's got like a porn magazine.
Oh yeah,
and she's looking at, and of course he's not interested. He's got the figurine doll, like looking at that. Yeah. And then she says something really funny. She's like, "Oh, but it's like," she goes, "I think I'm really gonna like this."
Well,
she's like 10 years old.
Where did she get it from? A classmate? Is that it?
It was under her friend's brother's bed.
Oh, that was at but like her classmate friend.
Yeah, sure.
And she asked the brother, like, have you ever had the thirst or the need?
The need, the thirst.
And he's like, not yet. I'm not old enough. And she's like, oh, I can't wait to have the need.
Yeah, and she says, I think I'm really going to like it.
I'm really going to.
Well, it's hilarious.
I got news for you, lady.
Well, she does. Because the next scene, she's
15 years old. She's going for it.
Yeah.
And not just in a parking lot, in a parking lot full of people. Who bones in a car at all? I mean, it's been literally 20 years. For me.
Yeah, well, of course. We're old men. We don't bone in cars anymore.
No. No.
I lost my virginity in a car.
Did you really?
I did.
What kind of car?
It was a 72 Monte Carlo.
Oh, all right.
I'm not going to get any more details than that.
Oh, which seat?
I'm not going to say.
What was in the glove compartment?
Did a bunch of bridge painters watch you?
A lot of gloves. What's that?
I am no longer of the body type that could reasonably have sex in any size car unless it's a hearse.
Actually, a hearse would be awesome.
A hearse you could do.
Yeah, there's lots of room in the
was
back.
6 feet under because Lauren Ambrose bones in her green hearse.
She might as well.
Under a few times.
Yeah.
Well, why? I'd live in my fucking hearse if I could. If I had a hearse.
Well, you should get one and live in it.
But anyway, so they go to some. It's like the high school is just happening.
Yeah,
it's like a nighttime.
It's a dance.
Is it a dance?
It's a dance.
It is a dance because
and all the teenagers look like they're 30 years old,
as they always do.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's Quebec, so Ear Lady asks clearly either asexual or homosexual
Leon
Leon to dance, and he's just like
Marcia. He doesn't even look at her.
I don't think he even says no.
He's looking for his sister, and he asks her if she's seen Ursula. Her name's Ursula for some reason.
Oh, because someone's written something on her locker.
On his locker.
It's
her
like,
locker, one of the two.
It's like Ursula's a huge slut or whatever.
Something like that. If you want to you want to get fucked, come see, whatever, it doesn't matter. It's like, it's.
And it turns out the graffiti artist wasn't necessarily wrong, because Ursula is indeed enjoying it.
In a car.
No, but they didn't even leave the school parking lot
No.
where all the drunken ribaldry is taking place.
But all the windows are fogged up, and of course the cars are rocking, so you don't come a knocking.
He came a knocking,
yeah,
and then he used his foot to knock that guy in the nuts. Did you notice that?
he kicks the shit out of that.
He pulls
biker
the guy off his sister, and the guy's still got a boner, and then he just kicks him in the nuts.
He probably has crushed that boner.
Oh my god! Yeah.
That's not going to work. Made
it look like Pin's boner.
We don't know what Pin's boner looked like. I have to assume
we were talking about it being skinny.
I think Pin.
I think he had a pretty good size. Because there's a scene when the girl pulls off the towel and she's like, "Oh,
hello, Pin."
Exactly.
Yeah. And then he's all like, like his face is different.
Actually, there's a scene just before this, this secondary dialogue of characters walking by, and Leon's on the sidewalk, and there's two girls walk by, and one of them says, like, "Do you think I should sleep with them?" And the other girl goes, "You have to do it," which is crazy. It's no, you don't have to do it, but it was just a funny little weird little, because it's all about the sex at this point, and it's just, I don't know, I found it weird and funny.
Well, yeah,
many years ago, I was on UBC campus. And coming from the beach, and I walked past two nerdy looking, they looked like students, and it was a girl talking to a guy, and she said, "Just take her out and sleep with her and get it over with." That's what the girl was saying to the guy.
Oh, get it over with.
Yeah.
I've had female friends give me similar advice.
Well, what do you mean, get it over with? Like, isn't that something that you want to actually do?
No, it's like when you have
maybe they were nervous. I don't know.
I once had a huge crush on a girl who later became my girlfriend, and it was just like, it was months that my friends and her friends had to hear us talking about each other and never actually hooking up. So you get to a point where you're just like, oh, for the love of God. It's like in Reality Bites when it's like, oh, well, you two just sleep together and get it over with. We're 47 minutes in.
Let's take a break.
Do we want to take a little five?
Yeah, I did take a break.
So we'll be back to polish our plastic, anatomically correct companion. So don't nobody go nowhere.
On our podcast, Dessert Before Breakfast, we review final episodes of TV shows with one catch. At least one of us hasn't watched any of the series before.
Who built these robots?
This shouldn't be difficult!
Is it a metaphor? What does it mean? Where was the creek?
Yeah, I saw no creek.
Did it ever show up? Yeah.
Wow.
Dessert Before Breakfast. Available wherever you get your podcasts.
I don't know what's happening.
Now they're young adults.
Ursula's 15. She finds herself pregnant.
Oh, I forgot.
How
could I forget?
That, Leon makes her promise never to have the need or do it again.
Never be thirsty again.
Yeah, and so they're sitting down by the river. I think he's still got that little ballerina doll or porcelain figure ballerina thing, and she confides in Leon that she's pregnant. After she walks by her parents, they're sitting on the lawn and they don't even acknowledge her.
Yeah,
because they're cold, uncaring, robotic parents. And then, so of course, Leon's he's always upset because I don't know why he's so upset and obsessively controlling his sister. But his idea is like, we should go talk to Pin.
Well, he's an older sibling,
but still,
and I've often found that older siblings are bossy.
Well, I'm an older sibling.
Yeah, and you're probably...
I'm the boss right
next to Pin, his only friend in the world.
It's true.
Only when he really communicates
and he's probably grappling with some like repressed homosexual confusion.
Well, we're not too sure yet. Yeah, because it's never implied.
I don't see any.
It's never implied. I
don't see it. There's not for one moment that I ever think of suppressed.
No, I think he's
homosexual. I'm just thinking this kid's off his rocker because he's obsessed with the doll.
Yeah, she diagnoses him as a paranoid schizophrenic later on because she gets a job at the library and reads all the books that she can find on the subject.
Okay, I should probably. I guess I don't mean homosexual. I just mean. No. Seriously though,
not in that.
No. Hold on. I just mean outside the common sexuality or whatever, because he clearly has no interest in. He's violently He's violently
possessive of Pin.
Look, a plastic man with no skin told him about the thirst, and then he like watched a nurse fuck that plastic man.
Yep.
And then I'm just saying that messes with a dude's head.
Yeah, but
to the point where you're kicking a dude in the nuts because he's making out with your sister in the back of a car.
Well, it's actually,
and then your weird sterile mother, and you know what I mean. Like,
I think the parents are more responsible for his fucked up upbringing than him seeing a woman have sex with a giant doll.
I don't know, man. If you were like 9 or 10 and you saw that,
yeah, you'd get over that or just forget all about it, like a normal person would. But he's fucked up because his parents are fucked up.
But it's also too that scene's messed up because he's not sure if the doll's alive or not. It's just playing into him seeing the doll. He is being treated like a human.
He is schizophrenic and all of that. But on top of that, I think there's a distrust of sexuality, or there's something going on sex-wise with this dude.
Okay, well, anyway,
he's not interested in sex whatsoever.
Yeah, so maybe asexual. I don't know. In 1988, like there was the Kinsey scale, and that was about it. Anyway, so what are you talking about?
What are you talking about?
What are you talking about?
The Kinsey scale. What is that even? I know.
What is Pin chiming in all of a sudden? Look,
Pin.
He meant to say the Pinsey scale.
That is not even
the worst joke.
That's
not going to make it into the podcast.
It's a pin pun. What I'm saying is, like, remember 1988?
No.
Barely.
We remember 1988.
Only because you were high on fucking Quaaludes, dude.
I went to university. I was my first year at university. Quaaludes.
I'm just saying, in 1988, there was straight and gay and maybe bi.
Maybe.
Yeah, like and the bi were even weirder than the gays, but like, thank God you were straight. Like, that was sort of the common in terms of.
I don't know where you're going.
Can
we talk about Pin instead of like?
I am talking about Pin.
Oh God!
It's like we just hand him a shovel and he keeps digging it.
I'm not digging a shovel. Oh, I'm sorry. People were so open-minded in 1988. I forgot.
Well, yeah, that's right. You did.
I'm talking about the actual fucking time and
I understand what you're saying.
People's attitudes in 1988 were not as open-minded and broad as they are now.
It's true.
So you could be a guy like this and be an asexual teenager, and you'd be incredibly confused. Hell, you couldn't even identify as gay. You wouldn't even know what you were because there were no pop culture.
He's celibate.
Well, but he's also she's probably right. He's a paranoid schizophrenic. He's got obviously mental issues that go undiagnosed and untreated.
But I think there's something more to it than just that. I'm wondering if this movie has like a character, the lead character,
Leon.
Pin. I think that there's a subtext there of sexual repression.
Well, yeah,
and I don't know if I don't even know if the filmmakers know it or if it's deliberate. I just picked up on it because like he kind of seems gay, but also very confused.
I never got any kind of sexual orientation from him at all. I just saw him as just a fucked up teenager whose his parents can't even talk to him about sex at all. He has to use a dummy with ventriloquism to to give him the sex talk.
Yeah,
which is pretty fucked up.
But his sister has no problem with sex at all.
No, she does not, and she's fine. She's actually, her and Stan, her boyfriend, are the only normal ones in this movie.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and so we haven't even gotten around to Stan.
She becomes a librarian.
We're barely into this movie actually, plot wise, but we don't need to.
So we don't need to talk about. I'm just saying, I think that there is a theme in this film about being a closeted person. I don't know if it's deliberate, but I just kind of picked up on it.
Well, yeah, I think it is, but I don't think it's ever really. I don't think that's not really what this movie's about.
No. But hence, subtext.
Well, so she's pregnant, and they finally tell the dad, and he's the one that should he be doing the abortion procedure?
Probably not, but it's a small town and they want to.
Yeah, the brother says there's 15 doctors.
You're not supposed to. It's just like anything else. Like you shouldn't perform heart surgery on your child either.
Well, right? It's funny. And then after that, we have this little sort of this.
And the dad, sorry.
No, please, you go ahead.
No, I cut you off.
No, I was gonna say, there's after that we have this little Pin montage of Leon hanging out with Pin, and he's reading to him, and they're like laughing. It would have been awesome if they like showed him like taking Pin water skiing, or like or like in a hot air balloon or something like that, or bowling or like darts or something.
Pin taking a shower with Kevin Spacey.
But Pin would.
You just had to ruin. Like I was gonna say, maybe playing tennis.
With Kevin
Spacey. Weekend at Bernie's water ski scene.
Yeah, like I was thinking of Weekend at Bernie's.
Pins. Weekend
at Pins. Yeah, maybe that could be the part 3.
If you took Pin bowling, would he be offended when all the pins got knocked out?
No.
Bernie getting a job to replace Pin. Like they skin him.
Anyways, yeah.
But what you need to have for that montage is the music from these commercials from the 80s of a doll called My Buddy that Chucky was based on. My buddy,
right.
My buddy, wherever he goes, I'm gonna go.
And it's a 6-foot tall Pin.
Yeah, just this skinless, unblinking, like
no
plastic
eyebrows.
Fucking flesh monster
with an erection.
With an erection, being chased by a nurse. So but the dad is. He takes a moment before performing an abortion on his daughter to go, I spent like 30 years in fucking university, and I make all this money. I told you guys not to bone.
You boned.
And what do I get out of it? I have to show up to the office on Sunday.
That's his thing. He has to go in the office and give his daughter an abortion on a Sunday.
I gotta give my daughter an abortion on a Sunday. It's my day off. I was planning on watching Coronation Street Omnibus.
Yeah,
but
not football. But
instead, I'm
Coronation
like
Street.
reaching into my daughter's private parts and
yanking something out.
Yanking, sucking. I don't know how it works, but
I've never had an
that's
abortion.
gross. I don't know. Anyway, we don't need. This is Happy Canada Day, folks.
Yeah. And then
he asks the brother if he wants to watch.
Yeah, I know, it's true. Yeah.
No wonder this kid's fucked up and is afraid of vaginas.
Yeah.
He's just like, the dad's like, well, you don't want to watch your sister get an abortion?
Yeah, his only experience with any kind of like sexual thing is watching a nurse fuck Pin, and then possibly watching his sister have an abortion, but given to her by his dad.
His dad, and he opts out, and dad's like, well, you could really learn something. He's like, yeah, what my sister's uterus looks like. Like, no, I'm good, Dad.
I don't want to learn any of this. No.
I'm fine. Yeah. I'm fine. Me and Pin are going to go.
Do not want to become a doctor, Dad. Sorry.
And anyway, yeah, I want to be a writer.
Yeah.
He becomes a writer.
Yeah.
Okay, so
which is pretty awesome. But anyways, because then the parents die in the car crash, and then the aunt's going to move in,
and they come into money too.
Yeah,
I forgot about the aunt.
But there's a funny scene when because they have, I guess, a wake at the house, and 4 or 5 people show up, and then she walks in the living room. She's like, "What a mess!" And it's like a coffee table with like 7 teacups on it.
Yeah, I know.
Because they grew up in such a sterile environment. Yeah. Like, this is a huge mess. I thought that was pretty funny.
Yeah. Yeah, at first it almost seems like they're gonna. He's implying, the brother Leon is implying they're gonna have a lot of fun together, kind of thing. Like we'll just order out for now on.
We never have to cook again. We can have ribs, pizza, burgers.
They kind of add for this symbolism where they like unzip all the plastic off of the furniture.
Yeah. I like that
they're
scene.
Becoming I mean,
because I hate when they put plastic.
Oh,
you know
it's the worst. I remember it in that era too.
I had friends that their parents like, why even bother? Why bother living?
I always think of Ferris Bueller's Day Off. The character Cameron, I don't know if you remember, but like he's got
former customer here.
He's got
Alan Ruck.
Alan Ruck?
Yep.
Yeah.
So we have Alan Ruck's home phone number?
Not anymore. It's just when he was filming a movie.
It was credit card number.
Yeah,
that guy's got to be a millionaire.
May have expired.
He was also that guy's got some coin, man.
Oh, I'm sure he's done fine with himself. He's on Succession, which is a great show.
Oh, he was in Speed. Oh, he's on Succession?
Yeah.
You know what? Looking for a new TV show to watch?
Watch Succession.
I heard it's great. Wow.
Correct.
Oh, by the way, get out of my bathtub. Because we said something at the same time. Or do I have to punch you in the shoulder?
Get out of my bathtub.
Or do I have to murder your firstborn?
No, you have to buy him
when you say something at the same time as someone else.
You have to buy him a Coke.
Oh, is that all?
I don't know. Yeah, it's really nothing. It's really not a big deal. You don't have to either get out of bathtub.
You buy a lotto ticket together.
Anyways, let's get back to this fucking movie.
Where were we?
Pin's moved into the house, and now he's wearing a suit.
No. I just want to say, it's because Cameron's house is like that with plastic on all the furniture,
Right.
and he's this incredibly repressed teenager.
Yeah, when he's got that has that car that he destroys at the end of the movie.
Oh, it's so great.
Yeah.
They take the plastic off the furniture.
And then
things are looking good, and then Aunt Bitchy comes over.
Yeah, creepy aunt moves in. It's so ridiculous the way her demise comes about. Like
Does she actually die?
She does. She has a heart attack.
Yeah.
Does Pin?
Well,
does Pin kill her?
she mentioned that moving to the country will be good for the old ticker. She says because she lives in the city. I guess it's hard on her weak heart.
Right.
I don't know.
Her weak city heart.
Her weak city heart.
So he literally scares her to death.
Yeah.
Leon scares her to death with
Pin. Well,
Pin.
all he's doing is like Pin's just laying in the bed, and then Leon's behind him and makes Pin sit up, and she has a heart attack because there's a fucking skinless dummy in her bed.
So
Yeah.
she lives in the city. She probably sees 18 things worse than that every day.
Every day.
When she gets on the bus.
Stepping over piles of excrement and needles
She
and
wouldn't
hobos.
last a second on Commercial Drive.
No way.
It's like a house of horrors out there.
It totally
It's
is.
a hippie house of horrors.
I'm never leaving my house again.
So they dispatch with the aunt.
Yep.
Thanks to Pin. Thanks, Pin.
Good job, Pin.
Okay, no, you're humble.
Sorry.
I was
You're welcome.
taking a big plastic shit.
So the daughter gets a job at the library, which for some reason Leon disapproves of. And she starts doing all this research on paranoid schizophrenia and kind of diagnoses them. Meets Stan, who's a nice guy. There's an awkward, a pretty charming scene in the library.
A broad-shouldered young man.
Yeah, I like Stan actually. He was my favorite character.
I
in the whole
didn't like
movie.
him at first because I assumed, look how broad.
Your favorite customer's
Look how
name's
broad-shouldered he is. I hate
He's a
his
little
shoulders.
Yeah.
I thought, he's going to be a jock, and he's not. He's
There's a funny scene when they go out to dinner, and they're in this awful looking restaurant. Like all the older people are sitting in giant wicker fan chairs.
Yeah.
It's awesome. And I was so hoping that they'd be for dinner, and then off in the background you'd see Pin and Leon.
That's
having
what
dinner.
I thought was going to happen.
I was
Wouldn't that
also
be awesome?
totally expected.
I was
that,
also,
yeah.
or just across the street, like Pin's like at a bus stop or something.
Or Pin comes and serves them their meal. That would be
It wheels
great.
them up.
My
like that.
compliments to the chef, and he looks over and it's Pin, and he's just got his hand up from the kitchen.
Why does the food taste like
He's
plastic?
the maitre d'.
There's actually a really sweet moment where, the movie starts in 5 minutes. We got to go.
Right, and so they sneak the food into the theater.
And-
How do you feel about that, Alex? How do you feel about people sneaking food into the theater?
I hate it when people do it, but to be the one committing it can have charm. But just don't make a big issue out of it.
Would
if
you
you're
follow them home?
Caught and told not to.
Would you follow them home and put like a meat mannequin in their bed?
Well, I have,
and
but,
scare them to death.
I have,
because that's all it takes to scare a person to death is for
put a
it would
meat
be
hand
it would
in
be
the-
pretty scary. But
Yeah, but it'd be a jolt. It would. You wake up and go, "Whoa, what the fuck?"
God, Jesus!
Yeah, but you wouldn't die
It's
from
not
it.
like I die of terror.
Well,
But yeah, I mean, I've snuck food into the theater before.
Yeah.
I don't do it now that I, of course, work at a theater. But just if you get busted doing it, don't act like your rights are being violated.
course, of
You
course.
cough it up.
I once I sometimes I'll bring candy in, but I always buy something.
Is that your new girlfriend?
Like I'll buy. Shut up! Now I have to cut that out so Robin doesn't hear. Now, I went and saw Terminator 2 in the theater when they re-released it in 3D, and so I paid like good money. I paid like $16 for this.
That is some good money.
And this dude is sitting like 8 feet away with a whole garbage bag full of
black garbage bag.
garbage bag full of treats from home. We're talking sandwiches and like
That's really weird.
A huge bag of chips, and like it was the noisiest.
One time in the Rio, we found
Murder
a
those
bag
fucking
of
people.
I'll
a bag
I'll
of
pin that
microwave
motherfucker.
popcorn.
Microwave.
Yeah, someone had made microwave popcorn
And brought it in
and
the
brought
theater
it,
instead
yeah.
of buying
Yeah.
popcorn in the theater,
Yeah,
fresh
microwave
One hour
popcorn,
and
which would have been
24
at least an hour long.
That's like when a customer.
Thank
1
you.
hour and 24
All right.
minutes.
That's like when a customer comes in here and asks us for movie recommendations and then writes it down and says thanks, and then they go home and look them up on
Yeah.
fucking
Oh, it
Netflix.
happens
Don't
all the
do
time.
that, or we'll pin you.
Yeah.
You'll wake up and there'll be a plastic boner,
I've
plastic man.
I've had people do that and phone home to see if it's on Netflix before they rent it.
Yeah.
It's like, what the fuck? What's wrong with you fucking people? Do you not know where you are?
say you're going in for a cigarette or some bluff.
Yeah,
if you're going to do
exactly.
it, don't rub it in her face. Anyway, let's get back to Pin, damn it.
So,
Yes. Pandemic.
So Aunt Bitchy has been
she's been off,
dispatched with,
and she's hooked up with Stan. They've had dinner.
Yeah, and they went to the movies and they're eating with chopsticks at the theater. It's a cute scene.
It's a cute scene, and then so this is when Leon phones up Marcia for a little one-off, and they go to the movies, and she almost eats the ear off the side of his head. And then they go back to his place, and she's like, she gets mad because he can't get her top off, and so she takes her top off, and he's kind of, I have to go see how Pin's doing, and then he wanders down, turns the lights off, hides her jacket, and is the least threatening, scary thing.
Although she does say something mean to him, so you kind of
she's not a nice person at all.
But she doesn't
deserve what. Well,
nobody deserves what he does to her.
But
man.
it's the most non-threatening. Like all of a sudden, Pin comes out of in a wheelchair, moving so slow, and chases her slowly around the house.
We've forgotten to mention to the listeners.
But she doesn't realize Pin exists. She doesn't know what he is. Of course, that'd be terrible.
Yeah, but it'd be terrifying for maybe 4 to 5 seconds. Then you realize it's a dummy in a wheelchair.
We forgot
a dummy in a wheelchair is pretty terrifying.
We forgot,
especially when it's obviously being run by this total freak.
But how's that going to hurt you? Like, I was expecting her to die in this. Like because it's a horror movie, I was expecting her to die some horrible weird death.
Canadian.
But then the door opens, she hugs
in Canada, hurting someo's feelings is as bad as murder.
It's true.
We forgot a crucial element is that so Leon has moved Pin into the house.
Yeah, and dressed him in the clothes and
what's
the
her
dad's
name?
suits.
Olivia, Octavia. What's her name again?
Ursula.
Ursula. She's not happy with this at all.
No.
Because I guess she's been gone for a few weeks and she comes back, and Leon has given Pin a layer of skin.
Yes, which is really weird.
Which is even creepier.
Where did he get the skin from?
And then a wig, and so it's just like Pin got skin.
Wearing the dad's suits.
Yeah, because so now it kind of looks like Leon.
Yeah,
it does.
And he's also rigged up this wheelchair so we can remote control move Pin around the house very
very slowly, and only on one floor. So it's as I said, the least threatening, scary thing, pretty much in any horror movie.
Okay, but did you really imagine what that would be like?
Yeah.
So you're about to get it on with some weirdo dude, and then
which is scary enough.
And then it's just like, okay, I just want to go. Even if there were points in this movie where I'm like, is this scary or is this ludicrous?
It's walking a fine line.
I think it's something I said to Robin like 20 minutes in. It's like, I don't know if this is like laughably like hilarious or if it's genuinely frightening, because I'm just imagining what it would be like to see like a life-size dummy in a remote-controlled wheelchair chasing me around in a house I've never been in before.
I think it might be kind of funny.
But it also might be kind of terrifying.
But for not to the extent of how it's portrayed in this movie. She's like losing her fucking marbles as he slowly chase. All she do is like maybe walk up two stairs, and then the threat's over,
like a Dalek. But then there's also the voice going like, "I'm gonna kill you."
Well, I don't think he's even saying that. I don't know what he was saying.
He was saying all kinds of nasty shit to her. I mean, it's fucked up what he was doing.
Totally fucked up. But I
don't blame her for freaking out. It's a freaky.
I totally blame her.
And she's a slight woman, and no one's expecting that. Like, she's just defenseless in this house with this. I think she might have been more scared of the weirdo controlling.
Well, yeah, that would have been more.
That's what the whole thing is.
That would have been more. It would have been better if he was way more threatening. But he was just like laughing, and it's a very non-threatening, threatening moment.
I did wonder why she couldn't unlock a door and run away.
Yes,
she seemed incapable of opening a door.
Yeah, because when doors lock from the inside, they also unlock from the inside.
Yeah,
you know?
like the little chain is an inside thing.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah, I don't know.
And so just when it looks like she might get bumped in the shins by Pin,
the sister comes home.
The sister just comes home, and they cry and hug, and they start just getting it on. Sorry, no, that was in my imagination.
That's a different movie.
And Pin's just loving it.
Why are you rubbing your nipples right now?
I guess I am. And then she runs away. We'll fast forward because we are taking too long on.
We are taking too long.
So basically, they have dinner with Scott,
with Stan, and then they have to introduce Stan to Pin.
And Stan's okay with it.
Well, because he's been told by Ursula what's going on, and he's putting his best face forward because he knows it's fucking weird. And the initial reaction is, this is fucking weird.
Would you go home? Okay, now first of all, whoever plays Ursula,
something
Cynthia Preston is I thought of like a very beautiful woman.
Yeah, she was gorgeous. I really had a thing for that feathered hair back in the day. And she was great.
She was rocking the fez.
Yeah.
I think she's out of Stan's league.
He's having a good time. He's a handsome guy.
So you've just seen a movie. You're eating some wonton in the theater.
Uh-huh.
This beautiful woman goes, right.
This is where
I got
live.
this brother, and he thinks this anatomical 6-foot doll. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so him even showing up to the house, I think.
He really likes her.
He does, and he plays along too. You think he's going to be totally freaked out, but then when he meets Ben and the brother, he plays along with it.
You can't spring that on someone. Oh, did I forget to mention?
Yeah.
Oh, right.
Well, no, he was coached, but then they have dinner, and then he encourages Leon to read some of his poetry, which is all about raping his sister.
Oh,
yeah, the poetry's god awful and twisted.
And it's like, oh my god, the look on Stan's face when it pans, it pans across to her. She's horrified. It pans across to Stan. He's even more horrified at this poetry.
And Pin's just
which
loving
it wasn't even poetry. It's basically like a story. I don't know why they call it poetry.
Yeah,
well, he's supposed to be a terrible writer. He's like, I'm going to be a writer, and he's talking about. It's not just like I want to try to be a writer, become a writer or something. He's terrible. Assuming he's going to be like just decide to be a successful, great writer, and it's god awful and crazy.
Okay, so Stan does something stupid though. Oh yeah, Leon takes Pin upstairs and puts him to bed and gives him some warm milk and reads him some Dr. Seuss.
Yep, gives him a massage.
You know, like, are you okay, Pin? All right. Puts the little Pin nightlight on, which is like a flesh face.
Yeah. Don't you wish that was you?
Aw. Good night, Pin. You know, leave the light on. Okay, I will. You know. And he goes downstairs feeling really good about himself, and then Stan's like, that brother of yours is fucking nuts. Yeah. Like,
overhears. Yeah, he should be committed. Yeah. He should be committed.
Overhears it.
Maybe you want to wait until you're in the car driving away.
Yeah, not good timing to bring it up. Yeah.
It would have worked better if it was just all in Leon's head. Like this, I think this guy is trying to get me committed. Or actually, Pin does say some shit. I do love the scenes when Pin is talking to him though, because when he puts Pin to bed, Pin's like, What you like that guy? He's a douche. We should fucking murder him. You know, he's
arguing with him.
That's the reason why he set Stan up to kill him is because he's overheard Stan suggesting he should be committed, and Pin should be burned at the stake or something.
This is before though, because it reminded me of Gollum in the Two Towers. When he's like, they likes us. We have friends. You have no friends. You know, where Gollum and Smeagol are having that weird internal conversation.
Yeah, lots of that.
Because when he's putting Pin to bed, as Leon is leaving the room, Pin says, you don't trust that guy, do you? Blah, blah, blah. He just wants to fuck your sister and all this. It's not after. He has no reason to distrust Stan. In fact, he likes Stan, and he's going to come downstairs and read him some more of his horrific sister rape poetry, otherwise known as Marilyn Manson lyrics. And he's like, no, Pin, I don't believe you. And he actually runs, and I think Pin even goes like, told you so, or something.
Well, because he overhears them talking about him being committed.
No, but before he overhears them.
Right.
Pin is like,
he's already putting ideas in his head.
You cannot trust this guy.
Right.
And then he goes down the stairs, kind of happy for the first time in the entire goddamn movie. And then Stan, that's when, lunkhead Stan is like, boy, your brother sure is a fucking loony, huh?
Yeah.
Yep.
Wowzers. He's got a head full of squirrels. We should lock that guy up and throw away the key. And then he comes out of the corner. Oh, you want another drink?
Would you like another drink, Stan? Yeah.
No, I'm going to go upstairs and plot your murder. Which he does.
Yeah. She's talking to Stan, and Ursula says, "No one can ever cure him of his paranoid schizophrenia." It's like, actually, yeah, I think there's drugs to do that.
Not so much cure, but to treat.
To treat, exactly.
There's electrical devices.
It's like they basically just written him off. There's nothing you could do for him.
Yeah.
Leon invites Stan back over to plan a birthday party for Ursula.
It's a pretty sinister, smart little.
Well, it's pretty funny. They're in the afternoon. It's like 2 p.m, and would you like a drink, Stan? It's like, oh, I don't know, because they had a few drinks the night before. He goes, okay, I'll have one. How about some scotch? I'm like, what 20-year-olds drink scotch at 2 p.m? What 20-year-olds drink scotch? What 20-year-olds drink scotch at 2 p.m? None of those.
Raised by a dummy.
But yeah, raised by a dummy.
It's like
that's what it should have been called.
It's like that joke in Mr. Mom, when Mr. Mom has not been at work for a few months, and his boss comes over, and he's like, "Yeah, he goes, you want a beer?" And he's like, "It's 11 a.m. Scotch. Sorry,
I haven't seen Mr. Mom.
That's a total side point. The Mr. Mom joke.
That's a good one.
Well, he calls up Stan. I don't know how he gets his number, but he calls him up. I guess back then you had a Rolodex, like
I don't know,
a big heavy steel Rolodex somewhere in the house. And he's like, "Hey, my sister's birthday's coming up in a few weeks, and you want to plan a surprise party? Can you come over right now?" And he's like, "Sure can." Weird, rapey brother.
Well, he's trying to get in on the.
He's a good guy.
Excuse me. Yeah, he's trying to get in on the good books
side,
with
yes.
Leon.
And then Leon is like, "Would you like a drink?" And he's like, "Yeah, no, dude,
Yeah, and then he drugs them.
By the way, if you're ever at someone's house and it's just the two of you, and someone's like, "Would you like a drink?" and you're like, "Sure," and then they turn their back to you
with a glass of scotch,
and then you hear some stirring going, but only in one glass.
Here's them struggling to open up a little plastic thing,
and then they then when they walk to you, the one drink is held out ahead from the other one, so they don't forget which one you're supposed to drink. You don't guzzle that shit in 30 seconds. Stan puts up a fight though. Once
he puts up a bit of a fight, and then Leon bludgeons him and buries him in the wood pile.
Was it the little merry-go-round that he hits him with, or was
it was just something that was on the mantle.
And Stan's watch
like a bowling ball or something.
Watch the sister gave,
which is the worst watch that makes a noise every fucking hour. Who wants that?
I forgot about that. Like, was it a midnight run thing where it's like, "Oh, you're late, so I set it"?
No. It's a watch that makes a noise. It has because it's state of the art. It's got a stopwatch.
Yeah.
A water seltzer bottle in it. It's got like
Max Headroom shows up every 20 minutes.
But the worst thing, it makes a noise, whatever the alarm is, every hour.
1 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah. 2 o'clock in the morning.
It's so reassuring to be woken up to know.
Like, that's the worst gift ever.
Oh, thank God. 4 more hours till I have to get up to work. Thanks, watch. Remind me 3 more times.
So then Ursula comes home and finds the wet spot on the carpet where he clipped the blood.
Oh, yeah.
And then Stan's watch.
Well, and Pin was very helpful. I'm starting to think, like, if you're gonna murder the sister you want to fuck's boyfriend, you want a Pin there
because she gets home, and they make up the excuse that he called and canceled.
Yeah, he blames Pin, saying that Plin did it.
Yeah,
he murdered him or something like that.
Well, okay, so no, Pin's like.
But first he explains the absence by saying he canceled. He had to go see a sick friend,
which is the worst fucking.
No,
a sick friend.
But before that,
if I have a sick friend, I'm not going to see them because they're sick. It's ridiculous.
Pin is like, okay, we got to dump Jock Boy in the river. And then the sister calls and goes, because I'm in love, my boss let me go home.
That happens here a lot.
Yeah.
It does.
So if anyone here is in love, just let me know, and you guys can leave.
Oh, great! I'm in love. See you guys. I'm out of here. I'm in love. It's Friday. It's Friday. I'm in love.
You're just going to go home and catch Pin.
But the old lady's
boning
like,
your sister or boning your girlfriend.
Oh, you look horny. You should go home and fuck your boyfriend.
Yeah.
I can. There's no one in the library. No one in this town can read. And so she calls home like, just so you know, I'm coming home.
Well, she's like, do you want to hang out? It's like, he's like the last person I'd ever want to hang out with. It's like, no, I don't want to hang out.
He's not your weird brother.
No, he's not.
You already have a weird brother.
Like, so the only people in her life is Stan and her weird brother. There's nobody else.
And the Pin.
But Leon's
not the Pin.
But so Pin's
Just
like,
Pin.
good job. Oh, so Stan puts up a bit of a fight for a drug dude.
It was actually a fun, awkward fight.
Because he's all woozy, and I'm like, oh, he's going to beat the shit out of Leon, even though he's all drugged up.
Well, he gets a few good shots in.
And then, but then he's out. Then he's out for the count.
It looks like he's killed.
Yeah,
because he gets hit on the back of the head with like a statue of a Black Panther or something.
like one of from the 60s, like one of the militant guys,
like Malcolm X.
Yeah,
for some reason. Anyway, so it's like, oh, dump him in the river. But then the sister calls. I'll be home in 20 minutes. It's like, oh shit, I know. Hide him under a pile of wood.
Put him in the wood pile.
Which isn't the worst idea, but
the best idea was to put him in the trunk of his car, which you've already hid the car.
Yeah,
and then deal with that later.
Yeah, but instead he
hides him in a bunch of wood.
And I assumed he was dead. And also
everybody assumes he's dead.
And zips him up in the sofa plastic.
Yeah, which he probably can't breathe anyways.
And at this point, I'm like, okay, finally a murder has taken place.
Finally, in this first death and first murder in this movie.
Sister comes home. Hey, brother's acting unusually nice. Then the watch goes off.
Yeah, we've established all of this. Okay, so then he blames Pin for killing the Stan, and she freaks out, and then she runs into the room with the axe.
Right.
And then Leon's like, oh, and she swings the axe and then cut to
fade to white. They do that a few times with the fade to white. So then, is this where?
This is where it really gets confusing to me. The end was like, what the fuck happened?
The cops find the. Yeah, I was confused too because I thought he was dead, but turns out he was alive.
Well, yeah, so the cops find Stan. He's alive. And then the next scene is Stan and Ursula driving to the house. They're going to get some things because they're going to leave.
Yeah.
They're going on vacation.
Yeah.
And then she walks into the room and she says, "Oh, hi, Pin. I'm going on vacation, blah, blah, blah."
Yeah.
And the camera slowly pans around and it's Leon.
Leon has become Pin.
Which I'm like, what the fuck is that? Like, so
it's like he slipped away totally. He's lost and he's become his obsession. He should be dead from an axe wound.
No, she didn't.
I guess she destroyed Pin.
Pin. See, I thought that she killed Leon.
That's what everyone thought,
and that she was going to go to jail. And I was like, oh, that's
what everybody.
I thought that too. I only realized now that she killed Pin.
But then it's like,
Pin.
She
destroyed Pin to save Leon, but Leon became Pin.
But shouldn't Leon be either in a psychiatric institute or in jail for attempted murder?
It's house arrest.
No, it's not.
When you're white, you can get away with anything.
So he's sitting in a wheelchair for some reason
because he wants to be Pin.
He's what was spotted at the beginning by the kids
who said, "Get out."
So now it's gone away. It's gone full circle. And it's just like, how did that crazy looking guy end up sitting in the window?
Sorry, Pin. You had something to say?
Tragic.
That's okay.
Yeah, so she came in with the axe. It fades to white. We all assume that she's killed the brother, but turns out she's actually just chopped that creepy ass fucking.
I just realized that now.
And the end's so confusing because I didn't like. What do you mean he's like? What do you mean he's Pin? He's so he just sits and starved to death in his wheelchair.
He's probably like taken care of and fed and stuff.
But she's going on vacation for 2 weeks.
But there's a nurse in the house.
There's a nurse.
That's true.
There, yeah.
So the nurse like cleans him and feeds him, and he's clearly out of his mind.
He should be in an institution, not at home sitting looking out the window.
I'm just saying it's house arrest. Like he didn't actually murder anybody.
He tried.
Sure.
Yeah, that's called attempted murder.
Oh, come on. That's not a crime. What?
Well, it's ruled not
what's
guilty
it called?
by reason of
Attempted
insanity.
murder?
It is Canada.
Dude, it's either murder or not or nothing. Anyway, whatever. So then he's sitting and he's even got kind of weird makeup on. He's wearing the weird wig.
Yeah.
And there's this bit where, and he's still doing the voice. I had to rewind it a few times. I actually watched it. Because you guys had the video, but I had to watch this on YouTube.
Yeah, you only had it for a week, and you did not watch it.
I tried to watch it because I was in my own movie, which I will plug.
There is no try, there's only do.
Yoda's full of shit on that one.
Was that Yoda that said that?
The whole word "try" means you attempt to to do something, but other factors prevent you from doing it. Yoda's a fucking idiot. So he's sitting there and he's looking out the window, and he looks like Pin, and he says something like I miss us, and she says, "Me too," and then she leaves, and then you see a tear go down his face.
Oh, really?
And then it fades to black. The only thing that ruins the shot is the boom mic.
Oh, really? I didn't see the boom mic.
Which only comes in over his. I rewound it 3 times. I'm like, that can't be what I think it is. And it's like, it's not the actual boom mic itself, but it's the the cord just drops into the shot, and then it fades to black in the credits. I'm just like, oh, that's bad luck. You know the director.
You think they would have saw that in the dailies or whatever and said, well, maybe we need to do that one again.
You'd be surprised what they miss. Yeah, so it would have been really great if the boom mic hadn't dropped into the shot right before the credits. But and that was the end. And
that's Pin.
And I actually liked. I thought it was a good ending to a good movie. That I had no idea what to expect. I was expecting like a more horror, but what I got was a more fucked up psychological thriller, and I really appreciated it because it was a slow burn. It was a smart script. It had its flaws, largely due to budget constraints and things like that. But overall, I would recommend this movie.
As I would. I think it's a solid little weird thriller. I liked it because it's weird enough to be interesting. It's never boring. Weird and crazy. You know, there's not too many movies when you see like a woman have sex with a fleshless or a skinless doll.
Yeah.
So I was happy with that. You know, I like it because it's weird. It's not scary. It's not that thrilling. It's it's really interesting. I liked it a lot. I'm glad I watched it twice in less than a year.
I wouldn't say it's scary, but I would say it's creepy.
Yeah, it's got some good creepy vibes in it. It's kind of fucked up. I wanted more of the parents. I would have liked to seen Terry O'Quinn and I don't know who his wife actress was, but I would have liked to seen more of them because they were particularly creepy. I think they were probably the creepiest people in it.
Did I mention earlier that Terry O'Quinn was in it because for a U.S. theatrical release? They had to have a recognizable American actor in the movie.
But he's hardly,
I think Stepfather had been out, so they wanted to film it in Quebec, make it a Canadian production, but they also wanted to distribute it in the States. And one of the conditions was you have to have like an American actor in a lead role. How about you, Alex? Would you say this film holds up?
Well, I mean, not so much a question of it holding up because I've never been a big fan. I barely remembered it from when I first saw it, but yeah, I liked it. I mean, it's in some ways not very good. It's creepy and crazy, but it's still a mess. Like, it's not often that I watch a movie and say, wow, I'd love to see a remake of that. All the elements are there for something truly great.
I wouldn't say it's a mess.
But
like it's a competently made movie. It's not like
it's okay. I mean, and I find a lot of it too is even like the editing, like parts of it were far more confusing than it should have been. And like Terry O'Quinn and the wife could have been included even a bit later in the movie, like had it been pieced together differently. But no, I mean, it's a good movie, but it just feels kind of jumbled and a little bit sloppy. But I mean, I like the movie. It's weird. It's creepy, but all the elements are there. Like, it could be to make something truly great out of it, but it's far from great.
I'm not saying it's great. It's enjoyable. It's worth a watch for sure.
But you could get something really great of it. I like the idea of creepy dolls, the brother-sister relationship, and
I prefer
the tragedy of it all. But the film's not.
I prefer creepy dolls that are actually come alive and do things.
Well, see, I was thinking about this.
You could make a great succeed at doing this here, but the elements there for a really great, is it in his head or is it really alive or not? You could have done something like that. They didn't pull it off.
I always find those things, and if it is the case that the doll or whatever is alive, it's just ridiculous. Like, I think you either go with it from the beginning or just don't leave that to the imagination.
Like
unless it's not alive.
There's elements of that in Child's Play, right? Which is not a movie that I love by any stretch of the imagination. Even though Brad Dourif is the voice of Chucky, the best bits are when the mom doesn't know that Chucky is actually alive, and he's just kind of fucking with her, right? But once Chucky starts running around with a knife and calling her a fucking stupid bitch, then it's not scary anymore, right? I was watching this and just wondering, like, oh, you know what? This could be a candidate for a remake. Then I thought, but if they did it, they would overdo it. They'd use CGI and make it.
Yeah, no.
Like it just wouldn't be good.
Just leave it alone. It's not a movie that needs to be remade. Actually, the director Sandor Skilmalori,
Sandor Steel Trout.
Yes, Sandor Steel Trout was going to remake it himself, like 10 years ago in 2011. I guess it never happened.
But everything I like, the problem with the remake is everything I like about this movie is subtlety and what you might call the boring elements. Like, I like that it's not really ever explained, and it's just about this fucked up guy and this fucked up family. What new elements could you possibly bring to it if it were remade? Like, ooh, the doll, you get to see his dick.
Yeah,
it's. Yeah, I think it's kind of perfect because
there's no point in remaking it
because it's low budget and Canadian and of that time. I think it works, but nowadays it's just. I mean, who knows? Like Steven Soderbergh could take it and do something really special with it.
Well, he's retired now.
Yeah, right.
He has a new movie coming out.
Is it about his retirement?
Yeah.
It's just us watching Steven Soderbergh be retired for the next 30 years?
He's just sitting on the porch in a chair with an Afghan over his legs, just
shaking his cane at the traffic.
Yeah.
I used to hang out with George Clooney.
Anyways, let's do the 2-for-1 pairings and let's wrap this motherfucker up.
Oh, look who's the director all of a sudden.
Well, we're running long. I'm probably gonna have to.
We're not right. We're actually running about 20 minutes under schedule, but it is Monday here at Black Dog Video, which you all know is 2-for-1 Monday.
It's the best Monday of the week.
Best Monday of the whole week, except Manic Monday. Monday is not as much fun.
No, so that's not much fun.
Just another depressed Monday. Alex. Somebody brings Pin up to the counter and doesn't know that they get a free movie. What movie would you suggest they rent with Pin?
I would suggest Lars and the Real Girl.
Oh, good pick.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, so that's a really good pick. But another a guy with a dummy.
It's like a romantic
who thinks it's
Canadian
alive.
Connection, Ryan Gosling.
Yeah,
Canada's baby goose.
it's like a romantic version of Pin.
It is.
That's a really good movie too.
Oh, it's so much better than the poster. Like I always put, I was
so much better than Pin, but
it is better than Pin.
I would say, of course, it's better than Pin. Yeah. Most movies are better than Pin. I like Pin,
but most movies are worse than Pin as well.
A lot, yes. Okay, yeah. So it's in the gray area of the billions of movies that have ever been made.
Yeah.
No, but the poster for Lars and the Real Girl always annoyed me because Ryan Gosling's making a dumb face, and I was like, I don't want to see that.
It's so indie charming.
It's great though.
It's a great little film.
I think it's a good pick. It crossed my mind, but I figured that you would pick it.
Is that the only one you have?
So I picked another one.
Is that the only pick you have?
Just the one?
That's it.
You okay?
I'm fine.
Oh, interesting.
Well, I would say I'm not joking Kingpin as well, but
because the word pin's in there.
Yeah.
Right.
I sometimes make suggestions like that. Yeah, Kingpin.
Greg like that one.
I can't believe I didn't think of that. I thought for sure you were going to go with something like either The Dead Zone or The Silent Partner or
Porky's or
no, hold
Weekend
on.
at Bernie's.
No, specifically those
Canadian Tax
My
Shelter
Bloody
movies?
Valentine and basically
Like
Canadian
tax
shelter
films?
of unknown origin.
I don't think you knew I was going to say Lars and the Real Girl.
I
didn't know that.
No,
that didn't cross my mind for that one.
I honestly thought that you were going to go with The Dead Zone because it has such a familiar like they seem.
Those films have nothing in common. They're both made in Canada. Like
that's in common.
There's something about movies from like the 80s that are filmed in Ontario. That's as Darren said, the tax shelter movie. I thought you'd go with one of those.
No.
But Lars and the Real Girl, it's a terrific pick. How about you, Darren? What would you?
Well, the pick as soon as I saw Terry O'Quinn, and it's already been mentioned, my pick is The Stepfather.
That is a damn good film.
Because I was thinking of it because have you seen The Stepfather?
I've never seen it.
It's about a guy who has two families, and he's fighting reality and trying to keep them straight. And I pictured this as his second family, as opposed.
Oh,
so
interesting.
He's living this life with this crazy family, and he's a doctor. And
Stepfather isn't one of the Charlie's Angels in it. The female lead is like Cheryl Ladd or Shelley Hack or something.
Possibly, I can't remember. It's been a while since I've seen it.
Yeah,
but he's I think he's a real estate agent in The Stepfather, and he murders people left and right.
Yeah,
it's very violent. It's a really good film. Actually,
it is really good.
Yeah, I really like that one.
You know, I've heard nothing but good things with The Stepfather, and I've just never seen it.
Yeah, it's about a guy who has a secret family, and this is his secret family. Is the Pin family. What's your pick there, Dylan?
Well, if you came up to me on Magic Monday here at Black Dog Video,
we should call it Magic Monday.
Magic Monday.
Yeah,
but you're only allowed to rent movies with the word magic in it.
So Magic Mike and Magic Mike XLL.
Which leads into my pick is the movie that I would pair this with is a little known horror thriller starring a very young Anthony Hopkins.
Magic Mike. I bet I know which one you're going to talk about. What's that called?
It's Magic.
Magic. Yes. Do we have that?
We don't have Magic.
We don't have Magic?
We have it at Canby, but not here. I've only seen it because I'd always wanted to see it. I took it out at Canby one time.
At the Canby store.
Oh, my God. Okay, we have to order Magic.
Okay.
You've never seen Magic?
I saw it a long time ago.
I
thought it was
love...
terrible.
What?
Well, I was a kid. I thought it was terrible. I was a kid.
Yeah, it's written by William Goldman.
It's great. Magic is great.
I don't know if it's great, but
no, it's great. Anthony Hopkins plays.
He's really good.
Everything
dummy.
You describe this movie, it just sounds like it's gonna suck, but it's done so well. He's a ventriloquist in New York City. He's like a dirty ventriloquist, and he becomes famous very quickly. But he's unstable, and he's like, look, I just need a month, and he goes into a cabin by himself.
What do you mean he becomes famous? Really, there's no such thing as a famous ventriloquist.
Tell that to Jeff Dunham. Hello.
Who?
Willie Tyler and Lester. Remember?
No.
But the best ventriloquist.
A little sheep called Lamb Chop.
The definitive, mad ventriloquist movie is. We have it. We have an old black and white classic, Dead of Night.
Oh yeah,
and Sir Michael Redgrave is going insane.
That's like an anthology thing, right?
Yeah, it's the original anthology.
Anyway, it's still my pick. Magic, despite what Darren says, is an excellent film with Anthony Hopkins. He needs to write a new act because his agent's like, look, I can't book you anymore.
And Margaret's in it.
And
too.
So he goes to a little cabin, just him and his creepy ass fucking dummy slowly goes insane.
Do they slaughter a bunch of teenagers?
And it's just Anthony Hopkins by himself, like basically talking to himself. It's great. It is great. And the thing with Pin is it doesn't really quite go there, but magic really goes there.
So someone's coming up to the desk.
Okay, so we don't have magic. So my second pick.
So you have to disappoint them with that one. Yes.
My second pick is another movie about somebody with crazy ideas in their head and how it affects their immediate loved ones. And it's a Michael Shannon film called Take Shelter.
That's a pretty good movie.
That's
actually.
a very good movie.
It's a great movie.
I would say it's great. It's pretty good.
But that doesn't mean you get out of getting magic for this shop.
If it's available, I'll get it.
But Michael Shannon does an incredible performance as a guy who's losing his mind.
Is that the one with all the tornadoes at the end?
Yeah.
Are you serious? That's what's going. Oh, The Sixth Sense. Is that the one where Bruce Willis is dead the whole time?
Did I give away something there?
Oh, Fight Club. Is that the one where Tyler Durden is the narrator? You just gave the fucking ending of Take Shelter away.
But
it's not like we spoil movies on this
podcast.
But
you just gave the ending of 2 other movies away.
No, I didn't.
Yeah,
well, yes, I did. But only because you're a moron. Anyway, this has been the Black Dog Podcast, and I'm done with this shit.
Is he okay?
Spoiler alert, I quit.
Are you having a stroke? No.
He's turning into Pin.
I didn't give anything away at all.
I'm going to cut all that out because the end of Take Shelter is kind of like a crucial, and it's the very, 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 very end, right before the credits.
Right. Well, I was mixing it up with another movie.
Anyways, Take
Give
Shelter.
Me Shelter. I was thinking of
Take Shelter. Is that the one?
Is that the one with the murder? Yeah.
Is that the one where Michael Shannon is hired by the Rolling Stones
to murder concert goers
by himself? Yeah. Give Me Shelter or Give Me Take Shelter. We have been doing the Black Dog Video After Dark podcast at Black Dog Video at 1470 Commercial Drive in sunny East Vancouver.
It's dark now.
Dark. Well, it's dark now. Oh, so dark.
Dark.
Check out our website for more good stuff, videos, weekly specials, new releases, all that good stuff.
Good laughs, big laughs.
www.blackdogvideo.ca.
On the World Wide Web.
On the World Wide Web, and also our YouTube channel, Black Dog Video Empire. I have been Dylan Reimer, bidding you farewell. To my right has been
Alex Chisholm. Good night.
Oh, you sound...
Or good day, wherever.
I think Alex's corpse just said good night, and I'll say good night as well.
Also, big thank you to Pin.
Yeah, thanks, Pin.
Greg, Pin.
Otherwise known as Greg Stephenson, working the board.
Cheers. Yeah. Thank you.
Working it hard.
Thank you, Greg.
Yeah, so everybody out there, be good to everybody out there. And we
go to Jefferson's for a haircut.
Oh, go to Jefferson. Absolutely go to Jefferson's.
I got to get a haircut. I know you guys noticed I need a haircut.
You got mad scientist hair going right now.
Yeah, I kind of like it.
You got John Lithgow and Buckaroo Banzai hair going right now.
We should do that one for the podcast.
Good night, everybody.
All right. Good night.
The Black Dog After Dark podcast is recorded at Black Dog Video on Commercial Drive in Vancouver, Canada. It's presented by Alex Chisholm, Darren Gay, and Dylan Reimer. It is produced by Dylan Reimer and Darren Gay. Alex just kind of stands there and drinks beer. The intro and outro music was recorded by Tiger Burning Bright, composed by Jeff, who works at Jefferson's Barbershop, also on Commercial Drive. And he's a damn good hairstylist.